Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Rake and Profit. In this video, I'm going to take you into my computer and we're going to shine the spotlight on a seller called Teriyati with over 10,000 feedback who's selling anywhere between $7,000 to $10,000 a month. Now, I've gone through this person's store just for about 5 minutes, reviewing some of their sales and whatnot. I actually had a friend who sent me the store and wanted me to review their store since they're doing $7,000 to $10,000 a month on average over the last. We only looked back about 3 or 4 months, but they've probably been doing this for a while with over 10,000 reviews. But doing, $7,000 to 10,000 a month, selling mostly clothing items, which I find really interesting, especially in 2021. So I want to talk about the business model. I want to go into their store. I want to look at what they're selling. I want to talk about what I believe their profit margins probably are. We'll take a look at how many items they have listed. And I just want to point out some things that I find interesting about this store. So for anyone who is wanting to start a full-time business selling on eBay, this video is going to be very valuable because we're literally going to dive into a store who's making it happen right now. So as you can see on the screen, this is the person's store. So hopefully we give them a little bit of love, maybe get them some extra sales. So feel free to support the channel by supporting them because they're showcasing, how to make a full-time income on eBay. So let's get right into this video right here. So this is the seller right here. They have a 99.2% positive feedback, which is great. A lot of people say, if I get 1 or 2 negative feedback, is it going to ruin my store? It's not. You just want to have overall, a good, I would say over 98% feedback. Obviously, the closer to 100, the better. But I really don't think it's as important as people make it sound, but once you drop, below 98%, then you might start losing some customers. All right. So they have over 1,400 feedback in the last 12 months, 7 neutral, 9 negative. So let's dive into their store. And we can see that they have over 2,314 items for sale. And I talk about this all the time. The key to making more money on eBay, and this applies to Amazon, Poshmark, Etsy, Mercari, all the platforms, is you've got to list more items. It's a numbers game. Now, obviously, you've got to have inventory that has a good sell-through rate. And if any of you guys are invested in the Reseller Sourcing Handbook, which is a product that I've recently created, by the way, there's a Black Friday special going on right now. So if you want to check that out, we've got sales up to 75% on a ton of things. But one of the big things we focus on with the items that we share and we teach people about is that they have a good sell-through rate. Now, there's nothing wrong with selling items that have lower sell-through rates. And as an example of an item that's typically more long tail is blazers, sport coats, and suits. They typically take a bit longer to sell, but it's okay to deal with items that have a little bit lower of a sell-through rate, or maybe even a low sell-through rate that might only sell once every 6 to 8 months, as long as there's enough built-in profit to make it worth your while. Because when you spend money on an item, that money's just essentially held hostage and it's not earning you any money. It's just stuck in inventory. So the key is to sell your items, earn a profit, take that, reinvest it back into your business, or invest it into something else that could help you build it even more. So sell-through rate is really, really important. Now, I went through this person's sales and it looks like they have, around 10 sales a day, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less. Looks like their average sell-through rate, selling price with including shipping is somewhere between like $20 to $40, probably closer to about $25. So that's good right there. And that's something to keep in mind is, your average selling price, because there's fees, there's shipping, there's your cost of goods. There's different expenses that go into things. So, when I'm selling on eBay and if you're, trying to scale your business, I would say try to aim to have your average selling price at $20 or more. It's okay to go a little less. But just remember that it takes time for you to take pictures and list every item, package it, ship it, and you got to ask yourself, what is my time worth? Okay, so they have 2,300 items, which is great. And I found that, to start making a couple $1,000s a month on eBay, if you've got a $20, $30 average selling price, you got to get at least a couple hundred items up for sale. So depending on the quality of your items, if it's really high quality, you can do 5, 6, 7,000 a month. Like I was doing 5 or 6 years ago when I was selling only clothing. I think I only had up to maybe 500 or 600 clothing items, and I was up, to 5, 6, 7,000 a month. But my average selling price was higher. My average selling price was over 40 because I was selling a lot of blazers, sport coats, suits, higher end clothing items. So those are a couple things to keep in mind, but 2,300 items is great. Now, let me slide myself over. So if you take a look at their store, these are the different categories that they have in their store. So this is a very niche store. It's mostly clothing, and it looks like it's all men's clothing, casual button downs, dress shirts, pants, polos, ties, so on and so forth. Now, depending on where you live in the country and how you're sourcing your items, you can typically get these items for anywhere from a couple dollars each. If you're going to half off sales, maybe you have some liquidation connects, or $5 to $10 retail. Maybe you got the 30% off at Savers, or maybe you go on the half off days like I had mentioned before. But you're going to be looking anywhere from probably like $2 to $15 per item. So when we're looking at what the profit margins are on a store like this that is making $7,000 to $10,000, let's just say they're spending $5 per item and their average selling price is $25. After shipping and after fees and after everything, they're probably looking at somewhere between, a 30 to a 40% margin. So, we're going to dive into this store, but my guess is if they're doing $8,000 a month on average, 10% of 8,000 would be 800, 30% would be 2,400. So the store might be making anywhere really between, I would say, $2,000 to $4,000 a month profit, maybe more if, my estimates are off in terms of how much they're selling per month. But if they are getting their items for only a couple bucks, I don't know who here follows Chris over at the Daily Refinement YouTube channel, which is a great resource for anyone who wants to sell. He's a big eBay seller. I think he gets his items really cheap from like liquidation companies and whatnot. So if this person's only in it for a couple bucks, this store might be making $4,000 a month profit, which is really cool because there's only 2,300 items listed. So let's dive into the sold listings and let's take a look at what they are actually selling. So we've got a Michael Kors shirt that sold for $12.50 right here. Charles Tyrewhit, that brand is still selling nowadays. That's cool to see. This is a nice 1/4 zip up sweater, 2 extra large, $19.99. And what's interesting, if you take a look at the listing, it's actually half off. So I don't know if this person has a strategy where, similar to, stores when you go into Old Navy, Express, American Eagle, they've always got a 30, 40, 50% sale running. So maybe they're running a sale right now, or maybe that's their model where they price everything double and just run a 50% off sale on all the items. I'm not sure. But an item like this that sold for $19.99 plus $7 shipping, let's just say they're not making anything on shipping. If they paid, $5 on this item, there's $15 left. And then obviously there's going to be fees and there's going to be other expenses. So maybe they're making $10 profit on that item right there. Nat Nast, love that brand right there. Joseph A. Bank, surprised, $15 right here plus $6.95 shipping. And one thing that I've noticed is this seller, he has a system, he or she, I'm not sure if it's a guy or a girl, has a system for pictures. So if you take a look at the pictures right here, and this is something we can talk about now, it's the same type of picture per item for each one. So they've got the front chest, they've got the collar picture, they've got the cuff, and then they've got the buttons. And now I'm curious if they're doing the same thing for all the dress shirts because it looks very similar. So let's see if there's 4 pictures again. Yeah, 4 pictures. Look, building systems in your business is really important. You want a system for how you take pictures. You want a system for, your description. Let's take a look to see what their description is looking like right here. So 4 pictures. That's one system. Very nice title. Half off. It looks like they're using some HTML as well. I'm not sure if they're using like InkFrog or something. I'm curious if we can see this, if we inspect the code. Yep, they're using crazylister.com. So I don't know if any of you guys know of crazylister.com, but they have different templates and different things as well. I'm curious how this would look on mobile. Someone's going to have to look this up on mobile, and let me know how that looks. I don't think I've used Crazy Lister. Maybe in the past I might have tried it. I used Turbo Lister. I've tried InkFrog. So it looks like they have a HTML built out description, which is really nice. Let's see. Where is the description? I don't even see the description of the item. Do you guys see it? Clothing and textiles make up 7% of the waste. Da, 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 da. I don't even see a description. Maybe I'm missing something. Let's go to another item here. But as you can see, look at the pictures. It's all very, very similar. And they're selling basic items. Columbia, Ralph Lauren Polo. I don't know if I've ever heard of this brand before. Mabitex. Joseph A. Bank, Scott Barber, Joseph A. Bank, Bugatti Uomo. Oh, I miss me some Bugatti. Corbin, Brooks Brothers. These are all items that you could find at thrift stores. If you have a thrift store where you can get these items for a couple bucks, this is an example of someone these are not rare, hard to come across items. You could find these things at all thrift stores. Now, I'll tell you what they're doing to stand out is they're taking nice pictures. I mean, I don't think it's the craziest, best picture in the world, but it's clean. You got everything that you want, good title, cheap prices. You know, if you're paying $2 right here, you're going to make $5, $6 profit on that. So it looks like they include the measurements, well, at least the chest measurement. I don't see the shoulder or the length measurement. Now it looks like this one's a little different. This is a different description. I want to take a look at some of their others to see if there's a real pattern here. Thomas A. Pink. These are all just easy to come across brands right here. The toughest part about this business right here is finding the inventory at a cheap enough price, because here in Connecticut, for me, the prices of these things are just through the roof. I wouldn't be able to make money on these. They'd be $10, $15 each. I would have to find another source, or maybe what they're doing again is they're just going on the half off days and they're getting these items for $5 or less. Because I tell you, you could travel the whole entire state on a Savers half off day, or go to Goodwill's. You know, over here in Connecticut on Sundays, the Goodwills, they go half off for certain colors. So maybe that's what they're doing. So save 50% off. Really good title. You got the brand, you got the gender, you've got the color, you've got the type of item, you've got the measurement right in there. All the item specifics are filled out really nicely. Here's that template again. It's interesting how there's like, this person doesn't use a description. It's just, unless I'm just losing my mind, but I don't see anything here. I don't see any descriptions. So it's really nice how it's built out with the categories and everything like that. But that's the name of the game. If you want to build a full-time eBay business, you know, as I always say, there's the sourcing, there's the listing, and there's the shipping. And you've got to make sure you do each one to build a profitable store. So the sourcing of clothing, the hardest, most challenging part, like I always said, finding the items cheap enough, because things are getting so expensive. But if you could find a good liquidator or a wholesale company, or maybe you're building relationships with stores that are just getting rid of all their overstock or something like that. This is most likely a person who's buying from thrift stores, though. That's the sourcing. And then there's the listing, consistently listing on a regular basis. So if you take a look, this is something I want to mention here as I sip on my tea. If you count how many items they're selling, it's about 10 items per day, which means over 30 days, they're selling about 300 items. Okay. So if I take out my calculator and they're selling about, I'll just say 250, because some days are a little less. If they're selling at a $25 average, that's about 6,250. I think it's a little higher than that. Some days, you know, there were like 18 or 19 sales over the last 3 or 4 months. You know, that's almost, you know, that could be a $10,000 a month business right there. I forgot what I was saying, but let's see. What was I diving into? Yeah, but there's a lot of different items. Oh, yeah, I know what I was going to say. Listing consistently. If you're selling 300 items a month, that means you have to sell at least, you have to list at least 300 items every month to keep your store at this size. Okay, if you want to sell a certain amount of items, you got to have quality, and then you have to have the quantity, because you're typically going to have a certain sell-through rate based on the types of items that you have. So if this seller wanted to double their sales, theoretically, they would probably have to get from having 2,100 items in inventory or 2,300, probably up to like at least double, maybe 130% increase. So maybe they'd have to get up to like 5,500 items to maybe get to $17,000 to $20,000 a month in sales. It doesn't always scale perfectly because when you're increasing your volume, you're going to start to accumulate items that just don't sell very well, or maybe you have to like blow them out, or they just sell for less. So it's just interesting to look at right here. Mostly clothing they're selling. Look at all the sport coats. Let's take a look at what they've been selling. Actually, I want to go to highest. I want to see their highest quality items. Oh, Briani, I love that Italian brand. Whew. Salvatore Ferragamo, Belvest. Yep, I've sold these before. Canali, really nice brands. I don't know if I've sold this one before. I don't think I've sold Lardini as well. Hugo Boss, some of the Hugo Bosses do well. Peter Millar, love selling Peter Millar. I can't even pronounce that. Corneli. Somebody help me out, but I've sold that before as well. It's hard to pronounce some of these brands. Hickey Freeman. And again, Zanella. I love selling Zanella dress pants. They always sell for like 40, 50 bucks, but this guy got over 120. Very nice presentation. I love the backdrop. This is just a simple backdrop that you can get off Amazon for probably like 20 bucks. It's not even fancy. Look, it's kind of corny, to be honest with you. But yeah, just like a piece of wallpaper. Looks good. Got the pocket square in, got the shirt underneath it. You could put the tie on the dress form mannequin. I mean, this is a business model that literally anyone could do. If you could find the inventory, for $5 or less, for $3 to $5 or even less than that, and you could list 10 items a day and you could build your inventory to over 2,000, you can easily have a store that's, making you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month profit. But it's, you got to put in the hard work at first. That's the key to this. You've got to put in the hard work to find all your sources, to list all the items, because you're only going to sell maybe 1 or 2 items a week if you only have 5 or 10 items listed. So you've got to consistently list more, source more, and you have to find that sweet spot. And remember, the more you list, the more you sell. Now there's more time being spent with customer service. There's more time being spent shipping. There's more time being spent just dealing with BS that eBay is going to throw at you, and customer returns and issues with your accounts, and more picture taking, more listing. So the key is building out systems. I talked a little bit about it before, but that's the key. You want to build a system for your titles, build a system for your pictures, build a system for your descriptions, build a system for your shipping, build a system for your bookkeeping. So yeah, this was just kind of an off the cuff video, just sharing a little bit of insight into this store. I know I could spend probably another hour talking about some of the different items and whatnot, but I just kind of wanted to break down some different elements of this business, just coming from someone who has built a full-time eBay business in the past. I don't run a full-time eBay clothing business anymore, but it's pretty simple. Go out, source the items, list the items, and sell the items. So with that being said, I'm just going through the store. It's really cool. Hopefully this helped. If it did, smash that like button. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. With that being said, much love.